thank you guys for coming. This is our presenter this evening is, I would say, is a leader extraordinaire. When you talk about someone who you want to be a part of your team, who you want to be in covenant with in this opportunity, she is definitely the person that you want to not only speak to you, but to also deliver information. Marlita Williams is one of the most passionate, helpful, directed, focused, and her word is her bond. I love that about her. She does what she says she's going to do. So this presentation that she's going to deliver, I'm sure, is going to be fantastic because she is a student of her craft. So without further delay, I'd like to bring up Miss Marlita Williams.
Thank you, Derek, so much. I love when you build me up. I never realize how good I am until you come up here and introduce me. Again, my name is Marlita Williams, and even with everything that Dirk said, I don't see myself that way. I just live from my heart, and I've done that my entire life. And imagine this is a big screen here, but I've put up a little collage here for you guys, and even when I was a little person, I would help my mom bathe my brother in the kitchen sink. Do we have any kitchen sink bathing babies in here? You remember that? It was a good time in the sink, okay? We've got a lot going on there, but even when I was that small, I knew that if I were to help my mother bathe my brother, it would take so much weight off of her, and that would make me feel so good. And I've lived that way my entire life. And so fast forward, 19 years old, I go into the Air Force. I served 7 years. I did 4 years. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I did 4 years active duty at Hickam Air Force Base, and I was an analyst, a special analyst with a security clearance and everything, so I heard a lot of cool things. I saw a lot of really cool things. And then when I was honorably discharged from there, I went to the 146th Air National Guard, and I was a special purpose vehicle maintenance technician, which is just a fancy way of calling me a mechanic, right? It's a big label, and like it's super big, and it's not. I was a mechanic, and I had a really good time. But again, I'm serving people. I'm serving the Air Force, I'm serving my veterans, I'm serving my civilians as well. So towards the end of that tour, I had some things going on in my life, and it led to a series of events for me to get to Newport Beach, which is close to where I live now. And those series of events was alcoholism, drug addiction, and a monster of a beast called bulimia. Does anyone know what bulimia is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not pretty at all. I was bulimic for 17 years. Wow. 17 years. And it did a number on my body. So, my commander at the 146 said, Lita, you are very special. There's something in you. You need to figure out what's going on, and I'm going to honorably discharge you. I said, excellent. Well, I got an opportunity. Here's some me in my uniform with some of my military friends, and I got an opportunity to. I had an opportunity to shoot a documentary, and the documentary was about eating disorders, alcoholism, and drug addiction. Wow. And they said, if you put your story on national television, Lifetime to be specific, we will pay for your treatment. Now the ego of me and my eating disorder was like, no, I want to do this. I'm going to do drugs. I'm going to do recreational methamphetamines, cocaine, prescription medications, all of that. I was doing all of it. But then my humanitarian said, the person who likes to serve others said, you know what? There's going to be women and men that are going to watch this, and it can help them. Mm-hmm. So it was a done deal. I went to Newport Beach. I got sober. Been sober for almost 8 years now. Thank you very much. And I've been abstinent from my eating disorder for well over 2 years. It's a long-term haul. So I finish all of that, right? I get cleaned up, and I say to myself, all right, I'm clean now. What do I do? What do I like to do? I like to help people. Okay, where are there people that need help? They need help in hospitals, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to become a respiratory therapist. I spent $50,000 to go to get an Associate's of Science at Concord University to become a registered respiratory therapist. Now, I'm no longer practicing respiratory therapy. I'm going to tell you why. 2 reasons. I have a plethora of reasons of why I don't do it anymore, but there's 2 main ones. Number 1, as a respiratory therapist, one of our main jobs is when a code blue happens. Everyone knows what code blue is. everyone's all out on somebody. I come down and there's a young person there, not even 10 years old. And part of my job is to do CPR on people and to bag patients. So I'm doing CPR on this young person that had a chronic disease at 10 years old. And right there, that did not make sense to me. Why is this little person in here and I'm doing CPR on them? And on top of that, I don't know if any of you have ever heard a mother scream. It is the most haunting sound you will ever hear in your life.
Yes, it is.
And in that moment, I just knew something was wrong. I'm a very ethical, moral, compassionate person, and something is wrong if there's a 10-year-old child here with a chronic disease. So that was number one. Number two, I was at, I can't remember the name of the hospital, but I'm doing my rounds, 12.5-hour shifts, and I walk in and I see a blind, homeless black man all by himself. He wasn't causing a ruckus, he wasn't loud, he didn't do anything. But he would call for help every now and then, asking, hey, I'm in pain, hey, I need some water, I need this and that. And what I noticed was severe neglect. He didn't get what he needed, he wasn't tended to. And so I, the humanitarian, wanting to help people as usual, I said, well, I guess nobody's getting their rounds on time because I'm gonna hang with this man and I'm gonna talk to him. I can't remember what we talked about, but I know what I felt. And he appreciated that I was there with him. And I tell you this story because I want you to get into my mind and how I think. When I see someone neglected like that, I look at hospitals as business. Hospitals are a business. So when someone goes into business, why do they go into business? They want to make money, right? So you have your business to profit. Okay, businesses either have to have a service or they have to have a product in order to make profit. So if we were to get in our cars right now and go to any campus in a 20-mile radius at a hospital campus, I would invite you to look at that building and look at it as a warehouse. You have the business, and on the inside you have services. Nurse practitioners, doctors, physicians, respiratory therapists. If they are the service, what is the product?
People. The patients.
We have become products. We make people a lot of money. And it's very important that a business maintains their services and their products in order to have a profit. That's how I think now. So here's some statistics. Some of them are a little bit older, 2015, and some are a little bit more fresh. But $3.2 trillion on healthcare. That's a big number. I can't even picture that number. But the problem I have with that is when I researched it, that's money that's spent after people get sick. That's not money that's spent before people are sick. So where's the preventative medicine? What are we doing to take care of ourselves before we get sick? Additionally, also, if you narrow down $3.2 trillion, it's $10,000 per person in America, whereas in Japan, it's $3,800 per person. So that's 3 times more money that we pay for healthcare. Now, fun question for everybody. Are we paying more money for healthcare or are we paying less money for healthcare right now? More money. Okay, are there more people that are sick right now or are there less people that are sick right now? Right, so my mind, here we go.
More.
Say that?
It's more and more.
More, right. That doesn't sound right. If we're spending more money for healthcare, it should be going down, but it's going the opposite direction. I see 2 things wrong with that. One, if I'm paying more money, why are we not getting what we're supposed to get? And number 2, if we're paying that much money and people are still getting sick, where's all that money going?
In somebody's pocket.
Into somebody's pocket. Profit, again, you are a product. There are services being delivered to you that we do not need and that we can alleviate from our lives. One of my favorite nutritionists names Shan Stratton, and I like him because he worked with the Seattle Seahawks, and that's my home team. And I don't really like to read my slides, but I want to make sure that this is authentic from him. And he says, if we don't want to continue to manage the sick, then we better start preventatively teaching people how to be healthy. We have become reactive to disease rather than proactive to health, which is exactly the situation that we're in right now. We are not preventatively taking care of ourselves in order to flourish and have a more quality life. So I stopped respiratory And so then I had to rethink, what am I gonna do now? At this point, I think I've been to 5 different colleges at this point. And I decided to get my bachelor's degree in community health. That's important to me because I want to get to the root of the problem, right? It's very important. If we don't know what the root of any issue is, we don't really know how to solve it. We can soften it, we can make the pain go away, but the issue is not gone. And so what I learned in school so far, there's a lot of things to health. There's different exercise, meditation, relationships, things like that, but there's 3 absolute necessities. One is air, right? We have to have air. The only thing about air, the only place we can control it is in our homes, right? So that's a little bit difficult once you step out in Southern California, you breathe the air that we got, we're gonna run into a little bit of trouble. So that's really hard to address. The second one is nutrition and food, right? Has anyone ever been on a diet in here? Anyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Are you still on your diet?
Yes.
You are? Oh, wow, okay, that's
On and off.
Okay.
On and off, on and off,
Yeah,
on and off.
exactly. So the point I want to kind of emphasize, which all the statistics are there, it's very difficult to change health behavior. It's very difficult for people to stay on something long enough in order to get the results for it. So I want to address nutrition, but that's a little bit more challenging. The other last necessity that we have to have is water. The quality of our water, where we get our water from. And everyone wants to say, well, water is just water. Well, I would invite them to get onto an airplane and go to Flint, Michigan, and walk into the first house that they see and get a big gulp, fill it up with whatever comes out of the faucet, and let me know if they're going to drink that water. They're probably not going to, right?
Right.
Why not? Water is just water, right? Because we know their water is it's not good. So I have decided that when an adjunct came into my life, when I got my bachelor's degree for health education, I wanted this to be my new service to people. This is how I serve people. I can no longer give medications. I can no longer give lies to people and telling them they're getting better, and I know in my heart that they are not getting better. I can't do it. So here comes the magic. Our body is 70 to 80% water. Every single part in our body has different degrees and different percentages of water, but our water is a conductor. Our water heals our body, it keeps inflammation down, but the quality of that water is very, very important. This is just a list of multiple things that the water has an effect inside of our body, just water in general, not specifically common water. And also with common water, ionization, everyone thinks it's a new thing, and I'm sorry to say it's not. It's been around for a very, very long time. So there's several places around the world. We've got Mexico, France, the Mecca, Germany, places like this, where the water naturally occurs. Why does it naturally occur? I'm a little bit of a nerd, so I did some research on it. And lightning strikes 8 million times a day. When you break that down, that's 100 times a second. To us, we look outside and lightning comes and we think it's a miracle, but there's many places around the world where it's very natural and it's a regular occurrence. So these places, sometimes labeled as miracle water, there's an abundant amount there. And in this water, there's active hydrogen, which our body really uses very, very well. So, Enagic, which is where our Kangen water comes from, this is our device here, they've been around for 44 years, and most people don't know that's older than Google, that's older than Amazon, that's older than Microsoft, and that's older than Apple.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean that it's not around. They are the original equipment manufacturer, which is very important because you don't want to piece something together that you don't have full authority over. And as we know, the Japanese are one of the longest living people right now. So I think what they have to say it speaks volumes. They're also A-rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they are also a part of the DSA. So, if you've ever seen a presentation before, a lot of people like to skip this part, and I don't. These are the certifications and awards that Enagic has gotten over the years. So I want to go through them very quickly so you understand the value that you're getting with this. This isn't a $4,000 machine. It's so funny. I think Dirk actually said this to me one time. People know the price of everything and the value of nothing. So it's very important that we understand this. It's very important that you know that this is legitimate, this is real, and this can really, really help change the trajectory of your life. So the WKA Water Quality Association, they have a gold seal. And I just went directly on their site, and Natric is the only water ionizer that has this gold stamp. You need to understand that. So I took it straight from the website, and it says, products that display the gold seal provide assurance that they have been rigorously tested and meet the requirements of the standard, etc., etc. Big stamp. Everybody doesn't have that stamp. Very, very, very valuable. Now, ISO 9000 series of ISO certifications. The ISO series 9000 is the same series that aviation has to go through. So there's no airplane that's in the sky that doesn't get ISO 9000 certified. We have that. The next one is 14001. It's basically to minimize the environmental harm that we have on the planet. We have that as well. But my favorite one, because I'm kind of a medical nerd as well with my background in history, is 1345. And this is straight from the website. Design, manufacture, service, and distribute electrolysis water generators for medical use. In Japan, these items or these devices are in over 200 hospitals, and it's in 1 in every 6 homes, I believe, as well. Also, the DSA, the Direct Selling Association. There are 30 million businesses in America. The DSA only has 200 businesses in the DSA. And on top of that, Enagic is in the top 100, and they're number 60. So if that doesn't really shrink down the narrow field of the real high quality people, I'm not really sure what else can do that for you. We talked about the Better Business Bureau, just A+. The FDA went for UConn, so they have the food facility registration, and then the trademark with the compensation plan as well. So this is our squad right here. This is our lineup. So we got our Super, which is more for commercial use, K8, which is my bad boy, and then we have our Platinum as well, travel size, shower, and supplementation. So people ask about the medical grade. Well, there's other ionizers that are that do the same thing, and they actually they don't have all of those seals. 2, they have not been around nearly as long as Enagic has, and 3, they cut corners. Cutting corners will cause you to be ill. Cutting corners will get you in a lot of trouble if you're basing everything on money and not looking at the value of what's going on. So you can have mesh plates, which over time degrade. This is all extra here. You don't need to know this stuff. I'm just pointing it out, so if you want to look later, you can. But then you have solid technology, solid medical grade titanium. Okay? So that's what you're working with. This is a medical device in Japan. So our ionizer has 7 types of water, and we have common water, neutral water, beauty water, strong water, and strong acidic water. These are just a few more facts about, I'm gonna skip this one, we need to do that. Okay, so our water has 3 very special properties, and if anyone wants to take a picture of this and you feel the need to research this afterwards, it's perfectly fine, it would be unnecessary. However, I would like to mention a young man named Bill Gates. Does anyone know who Bill Gates is?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, so a few questions. Would anyone agree that Bill Gates has a little bit more money than we do?
A lot.
He does. He has a lot more. So if he has a lot of money, would he know who to hire in order to check something out and make sure how legitimate and valid it is? Do you think that he would do something like that?
Without a doubt.
Okay, so if Bill Gates has a whole bunch of money and he has these special people to do research on him, and he buys like 20, 25 of these ionizers, would you think that he would intentionally put something in his home that's been checked out that's going to harm his family? Probably not. He probably got solid information from solid people about a solid company. That's what he did. Very, very smart. So we have 3 properties of our water. We have the antioxidation property, the alkalizing property, and also the microclustering, and we will be addressing all of these. If you do want to research, please use Google Scholar. Do not use google.com. There's a lot of SEO things going on, but Google Scholar would be an excellent resource if you do feel the need to research this and utilize electrolyzed reduced water is the scientific name of the water. So, does everyone know what an antioxidant is, or an example of an antioxidant? Any kind of food, if you can name a food, maybe blueberries or any type of fruit. These foods are antioxidating to the body. What does that mean? It's slowing down the aging process. So So just imagine if you walked out to somebody that lives in Newport Beach on the beach, and you go in their garage and they have a car, or if they don't have a car, they have a bike, and they have the chain on there. It tends to be rusted. That's what oxidation does to the body. We are slowly rusting on the inside as we get older. Well, we have the capability and the option to consume water that is an extraordinary antioxidant. So, why is this important? The faster we age, the more possibility that we get sick. I don't think I can take that out. Oh my God. So this is the oxidation reduction potential. Big words, it basically means how fast am I getting old, or how much am I prolonging my age. So am I going faster getting old, or am I going slow getting old? I want to go slow. I'm not trying to speed race to get old, because I want to be here and see all the different people that I'm going to help and be a part of being serving others, right? So I don't play golf. I think golf is a little silly. But the way I learned about it is Tiger Woods has a negative golf swing because he shoots the ball. What does he do? I don't know. He swings at the ball less times than someone who has a plus swing. So I'm on the plus side, not good, right? He's on the negative side. That's really, really good. So what we're going to do is we have a lineup of waters here. And also, I told you guys I've been to school a lot, right? I've been to multiple colleges. So when I was in school, I can't stand being talked to. I can't stand being lectured. It drives me nuts. I get bored, I get irritated, and I just want to leave. So in order to relieve all of you of that, I'm going to have a volunteer come up and help me with this, what I'm going to present to you right now. So we need volunteers, or I can just pick you up. Anybody?
What's your name?
Yeah, come on up, sir. What's your name?
Tony.
Tony, nice to meet you. My name is Marlita. Thank you for helping out. Okay, so I have this tool here. This tool will show you how plus or how negative a beverage is. So instead of me doing it, I want your fellow audience member here to help me out. So I'm going to give you this invisible tool. And I just want you to stick it in one water at a time and read it to the audience. What you got? Plus or minus? Plus what?
230.
Plus 230. Okay, remember, plus is not good. Okay, we want a negative number. What's the next one?
Look at him put his finger in.
320.
Plus 320, right? Okay, what's the next one? What water is this? Aquafina? Crazy. Okay.
275.
All right, what's the next one here? We got Pellegrino or something, yeah.
400.
Plus 400? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go to the next one. What you got?
375.
Uh-huh.
On down.
All right, this one here is tap water.
Ooh, 400.
400 plus 400.
Yes.
All right, and then this is what we've all been waiting for, is our extraordinary Kangen water. Bam! What's it?
Ooh, 340.
Plus or minus?
Still going up. 360. Oh, minus.
Minus, you want to show the audience? You want to let the audience see that so you know that he's not lying, okay? It's very powerful water. That's the only one that was up there that was a negative, right? So why would we continue to consume something that we know is making us go faster towards age and possible sickness when we have an option of having one of the greatest antioxidants on the planet? Something to think about. So alkalinity. I know about alkalinity. As a respiratory therapist, we take arterial blood gases and we look at blood gases to see how alkaline someone is versus how acidic it is. So this really hit home for me when I saw this in the presentation. I just thought it was amazing. Volunteer number 2, please. Who wants to come up and help Marlita do some magic water drops? I'd be very, very grateful. Thank you. What's your name? Karen. It's nice to meet you. My name is Marlita. Thank you for helping. So what we're going to do here, these are pH drops. And all pH drops do is tell the truth. It's really what they do. But when you put the drops in clear liquid, it will come out as a different color. So the more red, orange, yellow, green, the more acidic. The more deep blue, royal purple, dark purple, the more alkaline, right? So we're going to test all of these waters. We're going to see where they line up. And if something looks funny, we're going to explain why something might look like something and really it's not. So you can just unscrew that. Oh, each water isn't in there. Woo! Please hold.
Just pretend.
Okay, we can pretend. Sorry. Okay, so you can put 4 or 5 drops. You don't have to be safe, but just drop it in your first water. What do we get? I don't know what color it's going to be, but they're all going to be like
Just, yeah, go.
colors.
Yeah, I like
And then we got this one, we got that one, and oh my God, look at that. This is awful too. We got this one, we got tap water, right? And then we have our royal, beautiful Kangen water. Woo! Right, thank you so much for your help. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so there's some of these waters up here that are, blue or green, and let me tell you why. So baking soda. We could get tap water, and you see that it's like a green color. If I were to get baking soda, I could sprinkle a little baking soda in there, and it will go purple like that. Why? It's a very alkaline substance, right? So we can get lied to thinking that something is alkaline when it's not, such as items like this. I would usually do the straw test right now, which would be really, really good to show people that the alkalinity doesn't stay in these waters. It's falsely showing you alkalinity when it's not. So some of our waters have ingredients which make it look like it's alkaline when in reality it's different. Now, when we take Kangen water, we're going to pretend like this is clear Kangen water, and I pour it in this here. Look at that, it goes alkaline. What about this? What about crystal geyser? We're just going to put a little bit of Kangen water in there, just like that, just like all of these. Okay. Here's the trouble, though. When we get to this realm with the sparkling water, there's something else going on here. Oh, the alcohol. All right. So I want you guys to watch this here, and I'm going to pour Kangen water in here, and you tell me what you see. Okay? Please do not blink your eyes. It's going to happen so fast. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Ooh.
What is that? I'm gonna get closer to you. Try it one more time. Okay, maybe it'll get better this time. 1, 2, 3.
it went and then went back.
Right. That's a chemically induced drink here. Very powerful, very acidic, very damaging for the body. And yet there's pregnant women that are getting suggestions from doctors to drink it for their acid reflux. Because that's the cure, right? So we're gonna move on to our soda that we have here. And see if anything happens. We're gonna pretend like we're gonna fill it all the way up with Kangen water. All the way up. Nothing happened. It's too acidic. You have to have 30 cups of Kangen water. Yeah, we need that much Kangen water to just neutralize. That doesn't mean to come up top. That means to neutralize the damage of what we've done with this here. Okay. Now, let's say you're drinking Kangen water having a good time. You go out and have a blast with your homies, and you want to have, I don't know, some soda or something like that. So I'm going to take our 7-Up.
Nice.
And I'm just going to put just a little, because everybody only has a sip of soda, right? Okay. So, just like that.
Wow.
That's how powerful this is. That's how acidic this is. And this is exactly what's happening inside of our body. So when you don't have regular access to ionized alcohol, microclustered water, you're jeopardizing your system. You're jeopardizing your internal workings. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is this sinking in for you guys?
Yeah.
When I saw this was very, very, very special to me. Because I worked in the hospital and I wanted to help people and I didn't know how. And so now when I see basic information like this, I've never seen it before. I knew immediately what I needed to do. I got a K8 almost immediately. That's what I did for me.
Wow.
So, our water is small. Has anyone ever heard of small water before? Small water? Let me see here. So I'm gonna cut here because this is where I haven't practiced yet.
Okay.